Hey everybody, Temple Crazed here. So today on the bench we have a Rolex. Oh yeah, that's right. 1946 Rolex 9 carat solid gold case. So let's get started. This is a voiceover, of course. I've been talking. I'm going to do a lot of these. I'm working on better filming and stuff, so just bear with me on it. All right, here we go. Maybe. Possibly. I thought we were going. All right, here we go. So again, 1946 Rolex. Look at this. Isn't this thing beautiful? Here I'm just kind of showing you off. Obviously the case needs a little bit of brightening up and cleaning and stuff. Let's get this band out of the way. Let's start there. I got my new band removal tool. I really like it. It's actually a new old stock type one I picked up in a parts lot that I recently bought that had this in there. It's a Hirsch. I really like it. All right, just kind of little once over showing you everything here. All right, it's a beautiful watch, absolutely beautiful. Now I have been yelled at a few times about the type of case back opener I use, and I'm going to pull this watch off the camera and pull it off. I don't like knives. I like these other style. Just a personal preference. Here we're looking, see that the balance does move. And let's take a look at the inside of the case. As you can see, possibly here, if I get that right angle, you should be able to see it says 9. And you can see the 375, which is the 9 carat designation. And here we are now. Just gotta get started on it. I mean, that's all that's left. Pull those case screws out. Take that that crown out, stem and crown out. I was really hoping that it had a Rolex signed crown, but it does not. And unfortunately, I looked around my stuff and I don't have one either. I was hoping I would have one. Now, this Rolex is a friend of mine's. I was planning on taking it with me to a watch show to sell, but we ran into an issue. The watch gets completely done in this video, but there is an issue that I will talk about at the end of the video that has happened since I got it done. My lighting is atrocious. I know that. You don't have to remind me. Hopefully we'll work on getting that fixed as we move forward. Now, for some of my longtime fans and stuff that have been on my show or on my channel here, you know that I've been doing a lot of coins, and we are still going to do some coins here and there, but I am going to start doing some watch repair also on the channel. And we'll be doing a lot of mail calls with some of the watches that come in and stuff. There also, you're going to see a lot of jump cuts. Here, I'm just showing, I use that to pull the bezel off of the watch. And we're in. Here we go. Time to start having some fun, right? Again, that the balance does move freely on this. I'm going to pull those hands. I've just used a piece of plastic over top of the dial and the hands. I used to use just a dial. I used to use the little plastic that goes underneath the hands. I don't like those because the hands do have a tendency sometimes to go flying if they're stuck. I prefer this method where you put a piece of plastic over top of the dial and hands. Also, you noticed I did put on gloves at this point. Now we are removing those hands from the movement. And I'll set them off to the side. And now it's time to remove the seconds hand. As you can see, this has a sub-seconds hand. Here comes that plastic. I'm just going to use one of those tools to kind of snake under there. You got to be really careful doing this so you don't break the tube or break that pivot off of that wheel, but as you can see, it worked out good. Now this dial is really faded, so you're probably looking at it thinking, wow, that light is really blinding it out, but honestly, this dial is really, really faded. It says Rolex, but just barely can read it, honestly. All right, well, let's pull this dial off. Let's get these screws out of the side here and pull this dial. Take these dial screws out. One. And this one's at an angle. It's not straight down like the other one. I didn't realize that until I started pulling this dial screw. I thought, oh, that's weird. Anyway, now we got those screws out. Let's see if we can get this dial to come off of the movement. Really nicely, actually, it came off of there. And here we go. Let's see what the movement looks like. And there we go. First time seeing our movement. Now, I don't know if we'll be able to see it very well, but this is a Rolex H, as in Henry, H movement 10.5. We're going to pull that hour wheel off of there. Good. And we'll get that cannon pinion tool out and pull that cannon pinion here in a second. I was trying to see that, move that light around, see if we could see what that says. There you go. You see Rolex size 10 or 10 and a half H. That's what this movement is. Now the issue that I had, let me pause this for just a second. The issue that I had at the end of this video is after I got it all together and I end the video, I had an issue right here. Right there. You see where you can see where somebody's tried pushing that metal in against that setting lever screw? Yeah, this setting lever is actually stripped out. And I went to push more of that metal in, and the metal was brittle enough that I actually did break this setting lever. So we have a new one coming, and the owner has been notified of it. Anyway, I just want to get that out of there. Okay, now we're onward. Let's see where we go next. Look at that. Movement's running suddenly. And it stopped. So let's pull that balance off of there. Whoop, nope, that's not working. Man, that is a tight screw. That's not working in there. That's almost camming out. Gonna break my screwdriver blade. And there it went. Okay, we got that. But I had to go with a different screwdriver, and we're slipping out, which we don't want to be doing. This is a really, really, really long screw too. You'll notice here when I go to try to take it out, it doesn't come out. I got to go a lot further. I was actually kind of surprised at how long this screw ends up being. There we go. Now let's pull that balance. I'm trying to find that little slot, and it is tiny on this balance. There we go. I got a little worried when it popped like that. I was worried that I might have damaged the hairspring, but I did not hit the hairspring. Get that out of the way. Now we're going to pull that pallet fork, and we'll just let the watch wind down itself. Normally I would let the mainspring down via the winding stem and crown, but honestly I forgot. Here I'm trying, it's just not wanting to work. I'm pushing down, the pad's giving way. It's just not a good thing. I push to the side where the pad's a little bit stronger, a little bit more solid, trying, nothing's happening. And you'll see a jump cut here. I'm going to put it on a movement holder because these screws are just so tight. With the movement holder in place, I can actually get onto there and I'm able to get this screw out. And here we go. Now there's no little or anything to get underneath there, so we're just going to kind of try to get up a little bit close to that pallet fork. We're just going to try to get in there. There we go. We got that pallet fork bridge to pop. Again, I'm sorry about the lighting. It is atrocious. I'm trying to move lighting around. I'm watching the screen, seeing if I can move some lighting around to make it better. And when we pull that pallet fork, as you can see, that movement starts unwinding now. And it goes for a long time, which tells me that that thing had a lot of power wound up in it, that it just wasn't letting down. It wasn't running at all for us. Not really. So we let this just wind down for a minute. And then we'll get in there and we'll remove that ratchet wheel and the bridge to the barrel bridge as soon as this is done. Still going. Wow, there was a lot of power in that spring still. Oh, I'm just showing there that I am using little baskets and stuff to put all the little parts into. I don't show the cleaning process because I don't have a normal cleaning machine as what a lot of watchmakers would have. I just have a ultrasonic cleaner, and so I use good cleaning solution. I use Elma Luxury Clean, Elma Red. It's a water-based, and it really does a really good job cleaning these movements. But my ultrasonic cleaner is also going bad, so I don't really want to show too much of that on screen. You guys would go deaf trying to hear hearing the sound of that thing. All right, here we go. 15 rubies, 15 jewel movement. All right, now we can get these 3 screws out that hold the barrel bridge in place, and then we can remove the barrel. Again, these screws are super, super tight. All right, we got one out. Here's another one, and our last one. Now, everybody works on watches a little bit differently. Nobody's way is I don't believe is the correct way. Now, this one's a little bit shorter, that screw there. And then the other ones are quite a bit longer than that one, so I'm just kind of showing that. There's one short one that's near the setting lever area. All right, now we should be able to pull this barrel bridge off, and it pops right up, no problem. It pops up, no problem. There it goes. There we go. And now we can pull that barrel bridge out of the way, kind of flip it over, take a look at the underside. Everything looks good. Yep, the crown wheel turns nice and easy. Set that off to the side. Let's pull this barrel out of here. And it's off. Alright, well, now let's get the train wheel bridge out of the way. And only 2 screws hold that in place. And then we can get all the train wheels off. And everything seemed to come apart all right. I mean, the center wheel was a little bit sticky, but everything seemed to come apart really nice. That's the one nice thing about Rolex. Even their early stuff, high quality, very high quality. This was a little bit stuck here. Had a little bit trouble getting anything underneath there to pop that edge. There we go. And again, we'll just flip this over and take a little look underneath here, and yeah, everything looks to be good. Now here, right here, you see it when I pull it, it doesn't quite want to come right away, and then it just does. So had a little bit of something on there It kept it a little sticky, but everything else seemed to come out all right. And there we go. I'm just showing I'm putting them into this container. But that one came out really nice. Here we go. This is the one that has the seconds hand on it. Here's your escape wheel. Everything comes out really nice. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to pull the clutch, the sliding clutch and clutch out also. There we go. Now we can flip that movement over and we'll go to the other side of the movement and we can start disassembling the keyless works. Here we go. Now those intermediate wheels are actually held underneath part of that keyless works. So, oh, wrong size screwdriver. Let's get a little smaller one. Here we go. And again, I'm trying to show you as much as I can as I'm going through this, but unfortunately I'm doing this all under a microscope. I am working on trying to get better filming equipment, but at this time I just don't have it, so this is what we're stuck with. I try to show as much detail as I can though as I'm going through. Didn't get that screw out all the way, just a quick spin of the movement holder and it comes right out. Alright, let's take out this setting lever. It's in good shape. Take out these intermediary wheels, which are also in really good shape. But what's not in good shape is that setting lever itself. And that spring is really, really strong. I just left that spring in place when I was that spring in place when I was washing it. I didn't feel there was any need to really take it out. So we'll pull this piece. There we go. Just showing you how strong that spring really is. It does not want to give. Alright, now we pull that, and see how that just fell right off of there? That's where we ran into the issue. Alright, well, let's get that into... I tried to pull the setting lever screw out, and it will not come out. And I worked on this for a while off camera and everything, and it just would not release. Not at all. Here I'm showing that I just, like, I try and try and try, and it's just not releasing. So I just left it in. And we're just taking a quick break here. I just wanted to say during this little break while I'm doing the washing and stuff, thank you all for hanging out with me. Thanks for watching me work on this watch. Thanks for just coming along. As my channel is going to be changing a little bit from just coins and currency to watch repair, we'll still do some coins and currency, but there'll be a little bit of both. Watch repair, coins and currency. I've also started Tempo Crazed. TempoCrazed.com is a thing now. Tempo Crazed is a resale company here in North Dakota. So, just so y'all know. Oh, I just remembered during that, I started the washing and then I forgot, hey, we need to take apart the barrel. We got to see what the spring looks like. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to pull off that barrel lid. Nice sturdy spring, push down, and it pushes the arbor up and pushes that barrel lid right off. And then we can get inside there and we can take a look and see what that spring looks like. And you can see right where it coils around that arbor, it almost looks a little loose. And it was very loose. But I did put it through the washer anyway, just in case I decided I wanted to reuse that spring. As we'll see later on, I do actually replace that spring with a more modern spring. But that shouldn't just fall out of there quite as easy as it did. And I can see there's just a little kink in it right in this area. There's just a tiny kink right there where it hits the arbor. So that was why I decided to replace this spring. So here we're going to pull it up. I'm just going to walk this spring out. Just give me a second. I'll focus so you can see this better. There we go. And you'll just see, I'll just use my thumbs and I'm just going to walk this spring out. Now this is possibly the original spring. This is possibly the original spring from 1946. They were usually this black or blue steel, spring steel. And I mean, you know, if they're good, if you want to put them back in, hey, that's up to you. I chose to not put this spring back in, and I chose to put a new spring in, which in the end gave me 380 degrees of amplitude for the watch, which is great. There's the new spring that I found in my stash of stuff. Again, that's the white alloy spring. They used to call them unbreakable. There you go. You can see the white alloy. There's your dimensions. Unbreakable mainspring. They're not unbreakable. They will break. And here we are. I'm just going to push the new spring down inside the barrel. And there we go. It just pops right down in, and we can pull that sleeve off of there. Now I'm just going to move the center over. Usually there's a little tension there and just needs a little pull, and it'll move right into place. Might see a jump cut here because I noticed the spring was up a little bit on the one side. I had to kind of play with it and push it down in to get it seated correctly. I think it was after I got this barrel arbor in. And it is fighting me to push that down in there, which that's good. That's what you want. I'm using my tweezers and my finger to kind of push pressure downward, and the tweezers to move the arbor back and forth, and then it's over top of a hole in the bench block there, and that gives it a room to push down through, and boom, now we're in. Good. And here's the lid, the barrel lid, and that's when I noticed the spring was up just a little bit, and I just kind of used my tweezers to push it down in. Now we can put the barrel lid on, and there is a little tool you can use to seat this barrel lid all the way in. I just push it till it clicks once there, and then I usually flip it over on the bench block here, and I give it a good push, and it just seats down in all the way. And there you go. There's the new spring inside the barrel. Makes a huge difference. All right, now let's start our assembly process here. I'm going to put a little bit of oil where the center pinion goes through and where the barrel sits on the main plate. And we will have a discussion later on about oils. Right now I'm just going to go through this reassembly process here, and we'll talk about oils on a later date. Here we go. I'm going to set the barrel into place, and I usually like to give it a little spin. Make sure it's in there, and look at that. It just spins nice and free. That's good. Kind of moves that oil around for me. Now it's time to set the train wheels in. Here's our escape wheel. Let's get that pivot lined up. Nice. Now one thing you're going to notice is that stuff is sticking to my tweezers quite a bit. And I demagnetized all my tools before I started this. The one thing I did not demagnetize, and I probably should have, was the movement itself. The movement ended up being very magnetized. All right, now we're going to put in the wheel that has the pivot for the seconds hand. And that goes through the movement plate, so we need to make sure we get that lined up correctly. Okay. Now this one, we make sure that the long side goes down and the little extra spur gear goes up on it. Sometimes it's frustrating to figure out which way these wheels go when you're putting it movement together. And I found that watching some YouTube videos has actually helped me out immensely when people show really nice detail of which way the wheels go. All right, here we go. And just making sure that everything is cogging up correctly is what I like to call it. When everything meshes correctly, it's cogging up correctly. And now we're going to put that train wheel bridge on. I always struggle with trying to figure out exactly the orientation of where that train wheel bridge goes. You know, when I'm first trying to just kind of set it straight down, but that's okay. A little twist here, a little bump there, using the fingers a little bit, and all of a sudden this is crazy on this one. Right here, you'll see it literally falls right there into place, and I move the barrel bridge just a little bit, and everything moves. It literally fell right into place, and I'm looking here because I'm amazed that it fell straight into place and everything was lined up. I mean, that's your Rolex engineering right there. Same thing happens a lot of times with Seikos when I'm working on them. You don't have that. It just feels like you don't have that preciseness when you're working on a lot of AS movements or ETA movements. But Seikos and Rolex movements, the preciseness is so great. Even for this, I mean, we're talking 1946, and that train wheel bridge fell right into place with everything lined up perfectly. All right, here we are. We're putting in the screws. We got 2 screws again that go into this train wheel bridge. Get them in, and then we will go ahead and we'll put the barrel bridge in place. As you'll notice when I pull the barrel bridge over here, we're going to test here. Yep, still works. Everything moves nice and freely. There is a lot of pressure I'm actually putting to get it to move there, and it so after I oiled it, I do it again, and it's a way different feel. But as you notice, the crown wheel is still in place here. I never actually removed this crown wheel. A lot of times I won't. I'm putting a little dab of oil here on both sides here. I'll put in on the barrel, and I'll put some along here, this edge for this crown wheel, and then I'll move the crown wheel around and stuff, and then I'll pull the excess off with with a little bit of Rodico. And a lot of times I won't remove those crown wheels because there's no point to it. Unless was sticky ahead of time, there's really no reason to. You just run it through your cleaner with it connected. Less parts to lose, honestly. And there you go. We'll just dab that off a little bit with some Rodico. And there you go. We're all ready. Now, as you see, I'm gonna push on this barrel and I make sure that things move. And yep, they move nicely. But I had to push a little bit harder to get it to start spinning. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put some oil on these wheels, at least on this side. Well, I thought it was. Nope, we forgot the screws. See, even when I'm voiceovering, I forget the screws. I sometimes do. See how that screw was sticking to my tweezers? Again, there was definitely magnetism in this movement. I've actually put a full movement together and forgot all the barrel screws before. And then realized afterwards that the movement was together and, oh, hey, I have screws left over. It happens to all of us. And the last screw. And of course, I did make sure that the shortest of the 3 screws went near to the way, well, in this position, the left of the crown wheel. Left of the center lever screw. All right. Now, I think I test. what do I do? Test the barrel again? Yeah. Making sure things are moving freely still. Let's put a little oil on this thing here now. There we go. I missed. Yeah. Don't worry. I clean it up. Maybe not right away, but I do clean it up before I finish. Now when I'm pushing on this, it's moving so much freer. You can literally feel it just in the way I when I'm pushing against it and pulling against it. You can actually feel how much lighter it is. And just checking, make sure the crown wheel moves freely still. And now we're going to move to the pallet fork, which you're not ever actually going to see me completely put in, because I struggled with the pallet fork for about 45 minutes. Pallet forks are my nemesis. Also, I don't run my pallet fork or my balances through the cleaning machine. I just use one dip on them. I take them out and then just use one dip. Now you can kind of see that pallet fork keeps sticking to my tweezers again as I'm trying to move it around and manipulate it, and it's just not working. So what I did is I took the pallet fork out and I put it in a plastic container, little plastic parts holder, and then I put it over the demagger and demagnetized it individually because I just could not get it to sit. Every time I moved my tweezers, it stuck to them. Right there, you can see it right there. Look at that. That's not a good thing. All right, we're gonna try again. Now it doesn't stick, at least. All right, now I'm just trying to get that bottom pivot to line up in that jewel. Now we're gonna pull the top pallet fork bridge and put in. And now I got to try to get the top pivot lined up. And as you can see, that big jump cut, yeah, that was the 45 minutes of me trying to get everything lined up. I didn't think you needed to see me wrestle with it for 45 minutes. All right. Same with the balance. Yeah, that was about another 45 minutes of playing with the balance, trying to get it to line up correctly. All right, so we will put the screw in. There we go. Everything's good and tight. Now we're going to go ahead and just make sure the pivot's all lined up good. Yep, everything's moving good. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the ratchet wheel in place here. Oh, a little bit of oil there first. Okay, yep. Let's put that ratchet wheel in place. Here we go. Now everybody has their own way of doing it. This is my way. I usually don't take the ratchet click spring and click out of the way. I usually just set the ratchet wheel down in there, get teeth lined up and stuff, move the click out of the way if I have to, and just put it together that way. Everybody does it a little differently. My way just is a little bit quicker for me. Off screen, I guess what you don't see, I did put a little dab of oil underneath that, right up in this area here, kind of right at that edge of that click to help it out. And I'm going to use the screwdriver to put a little bit of tension on that spring here. Now I held the crown wheel still so that I could make sure that screw was actually tightening. Now instead of a tweezers, I actually use my oiler because it's nice thin, and I push back and forth and make sure that pallet fork is jumping nicely, which we can see it is. which means power is coming down through the train wheels. All right. We're getting close to at least having the movement, moving. Again, here we go. We're going to put the balance in place, and I'm going to struggle with it for a while on camera, and then I say enough. I'm trying to figure out where the dang holes are, where this lines up at. And it's just not wanting to fall into place. And I was getting very frustrated to it with this because I thought, wow, the train wheel bridge fell right in. Why is the balance not just falling right in? Trying and trying, and it's just not wanting to go. And I'm trying to be careful. I don't want to kink that hairspring. It's already got a small kink in it, which made it really difficult to try to regulate this Rolex. I did get it within 15 to 20 seconds a day, which I think is very well. I've talked to a couple old timers and stuff, and in a movement this old, that's really good on a movement this old to get it that close. There we go. Again, I struggled with that for a long time, so I just went ahead and jump cutted that one where it was actually running. And you can see it runs nice. Although it's running kind of, as you can see, the balance is actually speeding up and slowing down quite a bit. There is a lot of magnetism in this movement still at this point. In fact, when I flip this movement over, you'll see it stops quite often. Like right there, it just stopped. There is a lot of magnetism in this movement. I had to run it through the demagger probably a half a dozen times before it was just enough that I could actually get it to run correctly. But there you go. It does run. That's the number one thing. It does run. But it's just not running right. And there you go. You see it's stopped. You can look down through these holes right here. You can look down and you can see it's stopped. Right there. So we're going to drop a little oil in there. I went a little too crazy there again. I clean it up. Don't worry. I was struggling for some reason getting oil lined up in the right spots. I think it was after the whole balance issue. I should have taken some time away from working on the watch. But I couldn't. Again, when it's off camera, I'm actually cleaning it right now. Little Rodico. Wow, this is a great view of nothingness. Here we go. Hopefully we're coming back. Maybe? Ah, there we go. And it's running again. I think I started the demagging at this point, trying to see if I could get it to just stay running. And we're going to pull this cap jewel off. That screw was actually loose when I started this. Looks like I lost a chunk of footage there for that cap jewel. Sorry. But here we have, we're going to start working on the setting lever side. And honestly, this video is going to come to an end here. I am going to start up the other one. I had to split the video because I had to go back and watch my video to see how this thing goes together, because I could not remember how to put the keyless works back together. So we'll be stopping this video real quick here, and I'll load up the next one here. But we're going to put that clutch in there. The sliding clutch. See that sticking to my tweezers again? I did take these and I put them again. the clutch and sliding clutch into a little plastic container that I demagnetized by themselves. Yeah, I could not for the life of me. I mean, I'd just taken this apart and could not remember. See that sticking? I could not remember how it went back together. Is this correctly? No, I don't think that's how it went. And I'm thinking in my head, does this go? How does this go? Does it line up with that hole down there? No, I think it goes in the top hole maybe. Hmm. Alright, so now we have the second video up and running. And this is after I went ahead and I took a look at the video to see how this goes together. I put the setting lever in there. And this is when I noticed that we had an issue with the setting lever and it was not tightening in correctly. I did go ahead and I put the whole watch together and then I took it back apart. And then I talked to the owner of the watch and we decided it was a good idea to attempt to upset the metal again in this area here near the screw to see if we could push some of that metal in to make it make it work better. And when I did it, the metal fatigued and broke. So there is a new setting lever coming for that. Unfortunately, that's something that does happen with some of these old movements. Sometimes that, bad things like that will happen. Now I do know how all this goes back together now that I had it apart. And have the video to show me how it goes together. That also helped. Again, I'm struggling with the magnetism issues in this movement. I'm trying my hardest to just push forward, not worry about them, not try to not stop. I just want to keep going. I want to get it done. Part of that is the fact that I have a watch show by the time you'll probably see this actually soon. But on April 24th, I am leaving for a watch and clock show in Wichita, Kansas, April 24th, 2025, and I'll be there for the 25th and 26th. So if anybody is in that area and would like to come say hi and get themselves a free Tempo Craze sticker, you're more than welcome to. Now I'm putting just a little tab of grease on there. I will clean up the excess. I don't usually use a lot in this area. I've noticed that if you use too much here, even that to me is too much. If you use too much in there, though, you will end up getting a lot of dirt and stuff through the crown and can really gum up the works very easily. And I want to avoid that. All right. Now I'm like, oh man, that fell out of place again. This took me a while to get through all this setting lever stuff. But I'm going to show you as much of it as I can because then hopefully somebody down the road, if they need help with it or something, can see how this goes together and will know, hey, this is how this goes together if they need to look at it. All right, we're adding a little bit of oil here to these intermediate wheels here, or to the posts for them. All right, here we go. We'll set this down. Setting wheel, intermediate wheel. Perfect. Just want to make sure it's all on there. That's good. Little dog hair in the way because I do have a dog and sometimes dog hairs get in the way. Alright, now we got to get this thing on there the right way. There we go. Now everything's set set in there the right way. And I think I'm going to skip me messing with these screws because this took me a good amount of time to get everything lined up with that. I was really fighting that. You see how that screw kind of stuck to my tweezers there a little bit? I was really, really fighting that this whole time. So I'm just going to skip this part. Alright, well, we got one of the screws in. That was about a 5-minute break trying to get just one screw in. Now I'm like, okay, can we get this lined up? Trying not to break my screwdriver, and no, we're not going to get that lined up. Oh, good. Oh, well, look at what just happened. The uh, the sliding clutch came undone or out of there. Oh man! Now I'm gonna do something really stupid. I'm gonna pry with my screwdriver, which uh, every watchmaker I think has done it, and we all kick ourselves afterwards. I luckily didn't break the tip of my screwdriver doing this, but it's happened. I've done it many times, and I need to stop doing it, but I keep doing it anyway. So now I'm in the middle of taking it back apart, and I'll bring it back when I'm putting it back together. Alright, so now I decided, okay, we're going to use the winding stem to help keep things in place. And sometimes this is a great way to keep things from moving around on you. In fact, in this case, it did work out very well for me. Unfortunately, like I said, I did find out at this juncture that we were having an issue, and I just decided to press on. I'm trying to remember, keep the thing on screen. I keep forgetting that we're actually supposed to be, recording this and showing people. Alright, let's try to get these screws lined up this time and in. I don't know. Been struggling with it, but we'll get it. Here we go. There we go. Hey, things are together. Well, wait, that's not working right. We can wind it. Let's see. Maybe if we tighten that down. Nope. Well, we skipped, I guess, ahead. Oh yeah, I skipped ahead because at that point I realized that there was major issues. Now I'm like, okay, we're gonna have to try to see if we can. I thought this moved, and I'm like, oh wait, that's not what moves. This moves. We need to slow this thing down. It is running away like a freight train. And you think, oh wow, that was a long ways to move that. No. Even after demagnetizing this thing multiple times, I ended up pushing that all the way over to the lowest setting, and that's as far as the only way I could get it to drop down to, like I say, 20 seconds a day, 15 to 20 seconds a day. but it is running. So I am happy with it. Unfortunately, I don't have any video of when I broke it. Here we go. We're going to put the cannon pinion back in place. Let's zoom in just a little bit. Here we go. Aha, we have focus. Line it up, give a little push, and it should snap right in. I'm just checking to make sure everything's engaging correctly. Okay. There's a lot of wear there in these teeth, but that's okay. All right. Now let's set that dial back on. We got that hour wheel in there, and we got the got that dial spring in there, dial washer. Set that dial on there. I gotta become more cognizant that you guys can't see everything when I'm zoomed in like this. I am going to be working on trying to get another camera that will give us an outside perspective of what's going on. But there you go. I've tightened up those dial screws. Now I'm kind of looking at it, and there is some. I thought it was like a powder or something. No, it's kind of like almost a corrosion on the dial itself. So this here is a sunshine cloth, and all I'm doing is lightly going across and buffing out the indices. I just want to give them a little bit of a shine to them. I'm not trying to buff the dial up or anything, just the indices themselves. Just give a little bit of a shine to those numbers, and you can see there is a big difference actually. And then I also do that. I did that on the hands off camera. But again, that Rolex is really tough to see right there. I mean that, even though it looks bad it maybe looks bad in the video, it's not good in real life either. It's really, really tough to see. Once that setting lever setting lever comes in, this Rolex will be for sale for $2,800 or best offer though. Now that's given it that the whether the gold prices go up. If the gold prices keep going up, it may be more. But at the time of recording, $2,800 is what I'm going to be asking. We'd be asking for this. Again, this is a friend's watch, but we've talked about it, and he said that if he got that kind of money, that he'd be willing to let it go. Here we go. We get that hour hand lined up, and get out a hand press tool. Some people just use the tweezers. I prefer a little tool that allows me to press the hand nice and squarely. And now let's get that minute hand set and lined up. Really light, gentle, and we're in. Now we use that little tool again. You don't see it, but a little tool to press that hand down in. Make sure it's all the way down and flush and where it belongs. And I did get that setting lever at this point to stay just enough so I could work the hands here. But this was the one and only time. After this, it was all over but the crying. Now what I'm showing here is just showing you that the minute hand is moving. You'll see my cursor come across, and I'll show, just point out that, hey, the minute hand here is moving if we watch closely. I always like to do that just to see if that minute hand is moving, because if it's not, you may have a cannon pinion problem where the cannon pinion's not tight enough, and then you have to take this back apart and start over. Alright, a little jump cut here. Time to start reassembling. Right now I got the case. I think I'm polishing the case, which I should have done on camera, but I'm just using that sunshine cloth again. and just giving it a little polish. I will be having those sunshine cloths for sale on my eBay store in the near future, which I will list my eBay account or store down below in the comments in the description there. But here you can see that 9 on there. This is the 9 karat gold, solid gold again. This case got a little dog here in the way again. Now the dial sits straight down on top, and I'm gonna just go off camera here real quick and pop that crystal back on. The bezel and crystal, because that'll hold that movement in place. Well, we put the crown in, okay. Ooh, fuzzy. There we go. And now I'm trying to tighten this screw up, and this is where I really learned that there's an issue. Like, it's not tightening up. And I pull the crown, and it doesn't, it comes out. And I'm off camera, you can't see it, sorry. I actually wasn't going to say anything, to be honest, because it worked. You guys saw it work ahead of time. And I thought, I'll just not say anything, but I decided to persevere and decided to say something here and let you know, hey, yes, there was an issue. It happens. I don't have the part for it. The part is coming. I just didn't have the part, so I'm a little irritated at this point. I'm putting the crystal back into the bezel, though. Thought about stopping and taking a break at this point because I was not in a good headspace, I should say. Alright, and here comes the crystal and the bezel. I was kind of polishing up that crystal and bezel, making sure it looked good. The crystal probably could have used a little more polishing, but it didn't look too bad. And I just figured I'd just move on. Now we're putting in those case screws. Got to hold that in place. That holds that movement in place from the back side. You can see that serial number. We just saw that. The other case screws going in. And at this point, it's running strong. You can see it. It's running strong right there. I've actually got it right where it needs to be to run that 15, 20 seconds a day. Again, as you can see, that regulator's way over there, but that's what it took. There's just a little kink in that hairspring and it's causing issues, but there you go. This is the finished product right here, and that's it. The watch is done to that point. I will be taking it back apart and putting that new setting lever in when it comes. But for now, that is what the watch looks like, and it is running as good as I can make it run for a watch from 1946. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope you'll come back and check out my other videos as I do them. This was a labor of love, even though it frustrated me here and there. I still enjoyed every minute of it. I'm going to have more videos coming up. I'm going to be doing some collaborations with some other people. please check out all my other playlist videos. If you're into coins, currency, I have a couple watch ones. I have a Tudor in here that I completely rebuilt from the ground up. Thanks for watching again, and as always, have a good one.